Today on the channel, we're back with another missing link figure with C-04 Cliffjumper on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, Transformers fans? Way I Got It Figured back with another Transformers missing link review. This time we're looking at C-04 Cliffjumper. I got him on Hasbro Pulse, same time as Bumblebee. I did hold off on doing the review, like to split them up a little bit. But you know, as excited for him as I was for Bumblebee, want to get into it, and we will do so pretty much immediately. So just like Bumblebee, Cliffjumper came in a little box, C-04, and then you get your little package on the inside with Cliffjumper has always been popular, but he's sort of, you know, having a time in the Transformers comic book from Skybound. They used him as a replacement for Bumblebee, which is something I sorely dislike because Cliffjumper is not Bumblebee. They don't fulfill the same role. They're not the same character. Um, and in my opinion, a lot of the choices that Cliffjumper makes are just choices that Bumblebee would make if Bumblebee was in the story. But, you know, he's around. He's sort of front and center in the comic. And so he's kind of getting some, you know, some attention, so to speak, even if I don't like the direction of the character. And it doesn't overall kill the book for me or anything. I just believe that the characters should behave the way that they've been characterized as behaving from initial standpoint, and then you change the character in the course of the story if there's a change that needs to be made. But I digress. I could get into Skybound and the whole series of videos probably about Skybound, but that's not the purpose of this channel, and it's definitely not the purpose of this video. We're talking about Cliffjumper, the toy, a remade version of the 1984 original Microman figure, updated with modern articulation, the so-called missing link line. And I'm looking forward to getting all of these guys, the 1984 cast, as they come out. The next one is supposed to be Sunstreaker, and then they have the Diaclone versions of Sunstreaker coming out along with that. I'm only just going to get Sunstreaker, but, you know, I am going to get them. So, starting with Cliffjumper's packaging, it's very similar to Bumblebee. He's got a very nice pose, and he's got his big super gun from episode 1 of Transformers. The Japanese are totally into the canonization of the cartoon Super Lifeform Transformers. Nice pose with Cliffjumper on the side. Different pose with Cliffjumper on the other side. And you got his little tech spec on the back. And some Japanese stuff on the bottom as always. So there's your package. We're going to get Cliffjumper out and check him out. Alright, so we've got Cliffjumper out of the package, just like with Bumblebee. Comes in this little styrofoam dealio here, and he's got his little package with his collector's card in it and some labels if you want to put them on. I am not going to do that. I didn't do it with Bumblebee either. Pretty sure I said that in that video. I'm going to leave them as they are. Take Cliffjumper's gun out, and he has another very small part in here that I'm not even sure what that is. So he comes with a small pistol-like like bumblebees, but it looks like a small jazz blaster, which he used in the cartoon at times. And removing him from the package. You see, looks like a perfect replica of the classic figure, but this one is going to have articulation that the other one, the original, lacked. So just to get some close-up detail on the big old gun, where you had Megatron and his viewfinder. But being of only average skill, he missed by like a wide. He definitely didn't even come close. And his little blaster, that's very cool. And then Cliffjumper up close. Head is a complete redo of the original head. And you got his arms. Posability matches the Bumblebee figure. You can kind of pose him around. Should be fairly solid to stand, even on a weird pose. And so he looks really cool. Not really a whole lot to be surprised about here. We did Bumblebee, and Cliffjumper and Bumblebee share the same engineering, if not the same aesthetic parts. They are still practically the same figure, but he does look really cool. So the first thing we're going to do is get him transformed into vehicle mode. Check that out. Be right back. All right, we're back with Cliffjumper in car mode. And as ever, his transformation is pretty simple, just enhanced to accommodate the articulated joints. He does have on the bottom a rub sign, just like Bumblebee did, for that 1985 flair. And he looks cool, and he rolls just as well as Bumblebee, or just as well as the original toy. Like I said, there's labels you can put on them if you want to put labels on. I know a lot of guys like to put labels on, but I'm going to leave these guys stock. I think they look fine as is. And that's just how I'm going to rock with them. I didn't do it for Optimus. I didn't do it for Bumblebee. I'm not going to do it for Cliffjumper. But cool, turns into a little Porsche. And that's about it. So we're going to transform back into robot mode and do some comparisons. All right, so we've got Cliffjumper back in robot mode, dual wielding his weapons. Cliffjumper's personality is that of an impetuous warrior, and I could totally see him double fisting weapons. Now, the obvious comparisons, of course, would be Bumblebee and, of course, Optimus Prime. And we have to change the angle of the camera for Prime. So obviously they look great. So far so good as our line expands. Now we'll get some Autobot cars and they'll start to stick in there. They've got the RC coming out. I don't know if I'm going to get RC. I might limit my collection to the 1984 Autobots, maybe some of the 1985 Autobots, and whatever Decepticons they eventually get around to doing. But so far, I'm loving what I've got, and I think they're great. They look great together. I would certainly, if I had uh, a wish list for what I would get from Missing Link, I would probably complete the 1984 cast and be like okay with that. Like I don't think I need like a Missing Link Perceptor or a Missing Link Blaster. But I think the 1984 cast done in this fashion would be sufficient for me. Autobots and Decepticons, of course. They do look good together. I like Bumblebee and Cliffjumper equally. I think they're both great. I mean, they're the same toy. They're cut from the same cloth. And I think we can move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers Missing Link C-04 Cliffjumper. I mean, it's a 10 out of 10. You know, he's a great figure, just like the Bumblebee. They gave him the super cannon gun that he had in episode 1 of Transformers. They gave him a little jazz gun, which he would be shown to use in a few episodes here and there. And, you know, it's coming from a great lineage of figures. Very nice to have. I certainly hope to get the rest of them, the rest of the 1984 cast, as I mentioned, and have like a little display of just them. But you know, it's a 10. Way I got a figure rank of 10. I mean, it's a great figure. Certainly glad I got it. I feel like it's worth the price. Once again, you make like a reissue of a figure or whatever, something like that. You always got to ask who is this for, and I think it's for me. I think it's for the original Transformers fan from 1984 that always wanted articulated versions of the figures. They didn't have to look like the cartoon. Really, the only thing that we probably ever really asked for was that they had better articulation. We were fine with how the toys looked. I was fine with how the toys looked. Still am. So that's what I would say. And that's what these things do. So there you go. So I'm not sure when Sunstreaker's supposed to come out, but when he does, I'll certainly be getting them. So it'll be a little while before we have another Missing Link video. But I do love what we've gotten so far. So that's going to do it for this one. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. We are constantly trying to bring out more content, bring out more Transformers content. Indeed, I'm doing a kind of a big push on Transformers this month because their video counts are sort of like lower than other lines that I collect. At least the Hasbro mainline stuff. Transformers probably still has more videos than everything else, honestly. But still, I always consider this to be a Transformers first channel. So there's that. Till next time, everybody stay safe. Happy collecting. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.